How do you manage your reputation as a creator and entrepreneur in this current climate? If you don't want to outsource it, if you don't want all the bells and whistles, what is the skill, the practice, the habit that public relations professionals have? Something that they do in their sleep, something that they immediately begin to calculate as soon as they start hearing what the issue is from their client, or if they are looking for an opportunity, or if they're having to plan more strategically. What is this thing that they have? Well, I'm about to break that down in this video and tell you a lot more about how reputation management and risk readiness fits into my 7 strategic zones for any creator, any entrepreneur. So let's get straight into this. As a chartered public relations practitioner, and having done media and comms for more than 20 years, and more recently studying systems thinking as an MSc, I have been able to take up my levels of strategic thinking to levels I'd never actually anticipated. I know that sounds really melodramatic, a little bit over the top, but it is. Because you see, when you're a public relations practitioner, a comms consultant, you're always having to do that thing that everyone says, read between the lines, have a lot of critical thinking, and be an expert at managing different stakeholder interests. But as soon as I added systems thinking to it, my goodness me, it just took my levels of abstraction, the ability that I can abstract at a very high level and a very low level, it took it out of this stratosphere. Why is that? Because systems thinking really gets you to zoom out so much. And as PRs, we have to zoom out a lot. So when you're a creative entrepreneur, you're all the way sort of quite narrowly focused on the issue. And even when you feel that you can be a little bit more objective, can get a bit more perspective, can take a step back, you're still much closer to it than you could possibly admit to. And this is a completely natural state to be in when we are independent creators and entrepreneurs. I feel you. But listen, there's this thing called reflexivity that we sort of build in when we're practicing systems thinking, or if we're in any research roles, or if you are trying to get ahead in terms of understanding what your subjectivity is. Because reflexivity essentially is about checking in with yourself. What are your assumptions? What are your biases? And if you're a solopreneur, creator, entrepreneur, you're really close to everything. Are you getting time to actually check what your assumptions are of the situation? If it's a crisis, are you too close to it? Are you checking in with what your biases are? How is it essentially informing what the next steps will be? Are there other steps that you could be taking? So, what PRs do, and they do this through a lot of practice, is they kind of take a step back and look at what all of these factors and elements are. They take a step back and they're able to identify the sort of moving parts. And when you're a solo creator, it's really hard to track all of these things. But it's not just about identifying what they are, it's about what they mean, how they interrelate, how they interconnect. And so that's why I decided that I wanted to bring in reputation management and risk readiness into one of my 7 strategic zones for any creator, any entrepreneur to level up their strategic thinking. If you are building online in public, it's something that you're going to have to build into your planning, managing your reputation. How are things going to essentially sit with your audience once you've put them out there? How are you going to respond in a crisis? Are you going to have an opinion? Are you going to give in to customer pressure? All of these things. So it's so important for me to bring this into the planning that we should really do if we're not outsourcing this. I would have to say the biggest thing that you can take away right now is to be prepared for any potential crisis or risk. And I promise you, this isn't about putting spells on yourself. You're not trying to anticipate something and invite the problem. But you yourself know what the potential one or two risks could be to your brand and to your business. One of the things that I get you to do in my reputation management and risk readiness masterclass, all the details are in the description. There's lots more in it, but there's this one thing, and it's called your decision grid. Your decision grid is essentially any issue, just name any issue, any risk that you could possibly be facing. What will you say? What are you prepared to say and do? You've got to note it down. You've got to free write. You can't rely on AI for this. You actually have to do the practice of writing down yourself. So, what are you absolutely prepared to do? And what are you absolutely prepared not to do? What is your deal breaker? I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to say this at all. So, what are you prepared to do? Write everything down. What are you prepared to say? And actually, you can note down like who's going to say it. There's another area in my masterclass. It's about getting your crisis contacts and your advocates list together. Like who's going to say what for you. So yeah. So what are you prepared to do and say, and then what are you absolutely prepared not to do? And what if you do both? What happens when you do both? This exercise and many of the exercises in my masterclass are essentially getting you to think. The transformation that you will get, it's not just information. We've got to get to the transformation, otherwise what's the point? It's all info and knowledge. The transformation is you've got to do this thing called reflecting. You've got to do this thing called really kind of get to critically think about something and check your own assumptions, reflexivity. And that's the whole purpose of my channel. That's the whole purpose of what my 7 strategic zones are, and the purpose of this masterclass, this particular one on reputation, is to get you thinking like a PR. A PR is going to look at all the risks, but also opportunities. It's a little bit cynical. It's a little bit cutthroat in a professional, ethical way. And so you've got to be able to kind of get detached and to look at things and then also look at your subjectivity in the situation as well. In systems thinking, we have this thing where when we are mapping a situation, trying to troubleshoot, we'll put ourselves, a practitioner, into the map when we're mapping it out, because it's how we're viewing the situation, how we're seeing the situation, that's also going to influence what the mapping looks like and what the potential interventions and solutions look like. So, this kind of thinking, this reflective, critical thinking, it's really important to start to build in. You have to cultivate it. And that's what my content, the tools I'm providing you on my site, the masterclass on reputation, the masterclass in June that I'm launching on all 7 of my zones. It's not about just giving you answers. It's about giving you the space and the opportunity to really do that thing, which we don't get enough of in education, or actually in any work setting, or when you are trying to just get work out the door. And that is to do more study, reflecting. But you need a way to do it. You need the right questions asked. You need the right focus. You need the time to focus. My phone's going off. Sorry, one moment. And so the thing I really hope that you will do is start to build in this habit and process of thinking and investigation so that you can apply it to your regular planning for your brand and for your business. That way, you'll be much more prepared and you can anticipate risk. You can have more foresight. The worst thing is not being prepared and panicking. And that's where PRs are great, because in public relations, a lot of your time is spent monitoring, anticipating, preparing scripts, preparing plans for in the event of this happening or that happening. It's not just about promoting something, it's about protecting your relationship. So, in the event of something happening, it's okay, we've got a plan and a strategy in place. And if you're having to do on the spot, PRs like myself are very skilled at working on the spot and keeping very calm under pressure. It's hard to do that for yourself, which is why I'm trying to give you the tools so that when you're in this digital landscape where you can immediately hear from your customers, you can immediately hear from your audiences, and they're very vocal and they're very visible, you're not caught on the back foot. And you're not, as I say, always catching strays. You are able to, in a prepared and calm way, address any issues that might come up. So try my decision grid and see if you jump into the reputation management and risk readiness masterclass, which I have available right now. It's in the description. It's so lovely having you here on my channel. So thank you so much for subscribing and supporting, and I'll see you in the next one.